Let's move away from economics and economic management to politics proper. In our last conversation, you did pray for a good successor to Governor Ifeanyi Okowa. Now the succession marathon has gone past the preliminary phase. Narratives of betrayal have inundated the media, with Governor Okowa fingered to have betrayed Governor James Ibori at the state level and Governor Wike at the federal level, among other southern governors. What are your thoughts on this?
You see, betrayal has become the new shield that absorbs all the bullets or takes all the blames for failure in election or failure in expectations. That's what betrayal has suddenly become. Wike is shouting betrayal. Like you said, the body group are shouting betrayal. Wike is being accused of betrayal for selecting his successor in that area. Bought forms for all of them, initially bought for one, and controlled the entire process, which was not democratic. Yet Wike wants a democratic process, which is okay. From the revered James Ibori's end, he's a leader. He has not stopped being a leader. There's even betrayal on his own part. His people are saying he has federal constituency to him, the daughter. He has local government in that Ethiopia West to himself. He has senatorial to him without giving out anything to other people. So it is beginning to. So here, they are also saying Governor Okowa has also betrayed. How do you betray? Put Wike side by side with ATIKU. Who will you choose to run you? I think the answer should rather come from you. If I have to address the issue of Wike. Yes, you can say that you want a Southern presidency. But those decisions are not cast in stone. Look, why don't you want the North? Why? The party is supreme, and party program is superior to any other person's program. Party wants to get back to power. PDP wants to get back to power. To be able to get back to power, they need to look at all the intrigues. A northern candidate will sell more for us than a southern candidate. Should we present a southern candidate and APC presents a southern candidate? For obvious reasons, for the sentiments, voting sentiments of the North and voting patterns of the North. There are very many brilliant people from the North. El-Rufai is one of them. Sanusi is another. Lamido is there. A whole lot of brilliant people who are doing well in that area. So it's not about a geopolitical zone not leading right. It's a leadership failure that has kept us in this state. The state we have found ourselves in Nigeria is a massive leadership failure that is cross-cutting. That's what it is. ATIKU remains one of the most vibrant vice presidents you can ever think of. Don't forget that he set up the Okonjo-Iweala economic team that turned the economy around and practically reduced all our debt burdens. Reduced them. Paid, reduced them, introduced lots of reforms. Is he not another? Will you now say that you need that Buhari's regime or administration has favored the North the most? Can you say so? The whole North is in turmoil. There's crisis all over in the North. So just as we are complaining, that's how the Northerners are complaining. So it's about leadership. It's not about where you come from. That is the statement of fact. So you say you want to be president. Party says this is where they are headed. Party supreme, by the way. And you must go to party position. Now, look at the profiles of the people side by side. Will you rather take Wike over ATIKU, even though you are not a delegate? Looking at their profile, looking at their antecedents, looking at their pedigree. The result is yours. Now back to Delta. Everywhere where you have had primaries, there can never be two champions at a time. There are no two kings on a throne at a time. People reign and allow other people to reign. Governor Kowa has a lot of respect for James Obore, and everybody knows that. When I hear betrayal, what does betrayal mean? You want to superimpose a successor? It's something that requires engagement, negotiation to get those things done.
Yes.
You must come down from wherever height you are to sit down on the table. Your advisors are very key to you. I hope that he got the right advice because he's a good man. So when you talk about betrayal, what betrayal? Is it that he didn't hand over successor to him? It can be. Udoha's turn. Udoha got a successor who was defeated. Yeah? And that's a statement of fact. Besides, the successor, Sheriff OBOREVWORI, is a good man. I dare say, he's a good man. We had some conversations when you came here. Growing up from this environment, most of us were rascals. There are revered men of God today who had criminal records in the past. Are you not aware?
That's true.
Anything, orientation is throughout life. Anybody can. So if you are rascally, I'm not saying you had a criminal record, but I'm telling you that there are some men of God, revered men of God that have criminal records. Today they've cleaned up. So socialization, orientation is throughout life. If you grow out of there, what makes a politician is not the strings of successes that he has had, but a lot of scars that he also had to show, because that's from where he drew his lessons. We all have, if they call it humble beginning, but very rough beginning, where you have to do a lot of things to survive. But you outgrow it. He's a grassroots person. They will tell you in that area that he's a grassroots person. Survival instinct can be primordial and then begins to flow on that continuum until it polishes up and clears up. He has lived with people. If you don't live and stay with people, you can't feel their pains. That's why Okowa is succeeding. He's a grassroots man. Sheriff is a grassroots man. So he has his social quotient is very high. His emotional quotient is very high. Unless you sit with people and feel them and connect, you can't make policies that will better their lot when you have power. You can modernize anything, but you can't modernize the relationship. You don't have a technology or an app that can tell you how all your people feel without you connecting with them and using town hall platforms. Can you?
No.
He's a grassroots person. When he talks about strict credibility, that's exactly what he's talking about. David is my friend, I like him. But your IQ, intelligence quotient, is only a subset of the entire quotient. You have intelligence quotient, you have social quotient, I have emotional quotient. Watch all those who have just one out of that quotient. They deliver, but without emotions. They can bring down this your house and put a road. What they want to do is a road.
Yes.
They can't connect with the people. OBOREVWORI has that in quantum. It is also not easy to lead the house for 5 years.
Yes.
We have had all manners of things. Didn't go to school. The system, when in your village, I'm sure you have kids, your wife will give the child a name, your mother will give the child a name, you will give the child a name, your grandmother will give the child a name, even nanny will give the child a name. There is no space left for all these names to be written when you want to document them. I have. Nobody can remember that I'm called Chukwuete. When I started growing up after my school certificate, I chose Eze, just to be consistent. The law also recognizes that, and our culture is replete with multiplicity of names. And the law said there must be a depot gazetted. All of these have been captured.
Looking at the road ahead on a trajectory, the economic policies and economic foundations so laid, with you being a rallying point of that, how do you see Right Honorable Francis OBOREVWORI fitting into and driving forward the economic evolution of Delta State?
It's very clear from his manifesto. It's more. Meaningful development talks about all type of infrastructural development that you have done. Because the fundamentals are there as established by Governor Okowa. You don't need to tell anybody today that Okowa is a roadmaster. I'm sure even those who doubt it, I'm sure they know that it's just a failed story that they're trying to pull out. OBOREVWORI will do more roads. Are there more roads to be done? Yes, there are many more roads to be done. Because in decades, some roads have not been done. Without Okowa, roads will go to River Rhine. And yet most of our oil come from there. Weather is an infrastructure project platform, ministry, department or agency that the governor put out there to first of all tackle the challenges of erosion and water. You can't build on nothing. If you don't take out and recover all the erosion channels and bring them back to life, anything you do, you are building on nothing. Because clearly, erosion will take them out. That's the first thing. And that's why they have done well over 41 kilometers. Please, I'm not just throwing figures at you. Over 41 kilometers of drains. That's what they're doing, running rings around everywhere, breaking down areas and making them to work. And the next level is once they clear those areas and those channels are through, to lay asphalt and all that is something that they can do in 1 year and 2 years. And it's a government of continuity. So meaningful development will continue to run in terms of infrastructure in those areas. Those meaningful development can also encapsulate human capital development because that's where we are. You cannot, where we are headed is industrialization, commercial agriculture. Most of the things that we're putting in place are the things that will orchestrate, galvanize job creation, complement what government is doing. It's not easy to do 9 technical colleges. What that tells you is that we are repositioning ourselves as people to be skill-based people rather than storytellers and wait for civil service jobs. That's exactly what it tells you. The experiences for Yageb, Step, Risa, and Wesa are such that the world must copy. Even the federal government knows that. As Commissioner for Economic Planning on our Community of Practice platform, I used to be called upon to talk about Yageb and Step. This Zainab, the current minister for the honorable minister, will always say the reason why they call Delta State is even though we are this, but see where we are focusing on job creation for our people. We became a model for people to copy. OBOREVWORI will do that. Opportunities for all. There will be room for stakeholders. There will be opportunities for everybody. He will take you as his own because he has the empathy. He has a social connection. He has the respect to flow. So he creates opportunities, stakeholders. Begins to take, look, to be able to build our budgets, we are almost always, as part of an integral part of it, is town hall meetings with people and know their needs. If you don't get in touch with people, you don't know their needs. You don't know their needs. So there's opportunities for all. So it's not going to be central alone. It's not going to be south. It's not going to be north. It's going to be Delta. There's always an emphasis in your area when you become a governor. There's no doubt about that. So if you're going to think that OBOREVWORI will not do that, no, you're lying. But there will be fairness in the distribution of resources. Realistic reforms. Yes, our IGR is low, but we are not that low. When you realize that there's huge poverty, and you cannot do what Lagos State does, or what the capital city does in Abuja, because you are an indigene here. El-Rufai took some of his development models to Kaduna, even though it orchestrated improvements and modernization. It's had a lot of backlash in that environment. Breaking primordial ties or stereotypes is a gradual process that you must do. Are we seeing any? Yes. Are we diversifying the economy? Yes. Are we investing in those things that can also bring money to the state to do those things? Yes. You don't only invest when it's a period of boom. Even in very dire period like this, they're talking about 150 billion. When we gave out 38 billion, didn't they know? It was published, it was cleared by the House. Somebody sits back and says they just sit down without a plenary and just announced it. I don't understand what that means. It's supposed to be a resolution, and they did. So more meaningful development, opportunities for all. Yes, realistic reforms. So environment. There will be need to talk about the environment. He comes from where you have challenges in the environment. The ecology of those people, the threats. Because as we all know, there are no sufficient provisions by the law to revamp or rejuvenate all of those areas. Those provisions need to be made. So OBOREWWORI will listen more. He will work more. He will engage more. And he will stay more with you.
Finally, and quite succinctly, as a patriotic Deltan, how would you address the confusions Deltans will be dealing with as the innuendos of politicking and politics will begin to bombard the minds?
Those who are confused will come to realization thereafter. The train has moved. We are one party. We are PDP. We don't go back on what we do. The state remains a PDP state. There's room for reconciliation. So once the reconciliation starts, we're sure that everybody will get back on board and we'll go back to drawing board and do a post-mortem on where we all went wrong. In all of this, everybody has a share of the blame. Both the person who was alleged to be betrayed, or the person who professes betrayal. Because at one end you have been accused of that same. Wike has been accused of betrayal in his state by his people. Ibori has been accused of betrayal in Central, but that he took House of Rep, took the other one for a daughter. But are these people eminently qualified? The answer is yes. So it is a new shield. It's a new shield to cushion the impact of failure. But they should allow it sink, because those are the scars that make you as a better position. At the end of the day, the sun will set and we should all come back to base. It's PDP all the way. There's no going back on it. I pray that as the reconciliation commences or starts, that people should open up themselves, yield themselves to realities. Yield themselves to reality. Because you can't hurt forever. Otherwise you just be one of those numbers, and you'll be able to add value. And I'm convinced that we shall. Even our enemies will vote for us. I hear that the so-called does not have national image, and I'm shocked. National Assembly member, that man who introduced the Healthcare Act, amendment to the Healthcare Act, a man who conducts PDP, one of the most referred to conventions of PDP, a man with enormous network. Okowa does not blow his trumpets. He doesn't. It doesn't sit and publicize himself each time he goes to see either Obasanjo or any of these people that you think are national figures. He's a very respectful person, and you know that. He will even raise his voice, but don't undermine him. Whether he gets it today, which we hope he will, if PDP knows what he's doing. I've had arguments on who should be. I saw the argument on Akwa Ibom, which was a PR thing that they did. That PR thing done by the Arise Abati was a publicity stunt. It's a PR stunt. Udom is a very brilliant person. The image they cut of him is the image of a minister of finance, not the image of a vice president. A vice president, yes, head of economic team. However, you must coordinate 36 state governors plus the FCT. There's a lot of politics, a lot of patience, a lot of experience. It doesn't come in a day.